Okay, good afternoon everybody, it's great to be here. My name is Donna Trowbridge and I'm CPO of DBS Bank.
And I'm Adrienne, Claxtone. I'm an agile coach with IBM.
So first of all, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of our project so you can set it in context. So I said I'm CPO of DBS Bank. Right, that's not Chief Product Owner, it's actually Chief Procurement Officer. I actually have the best job in the world because I get to spend money every day. I get to shop every day and somebody pays me to do that. And I spend somebody else's money. Unfortunately, I have not been able to convince my boss that I should spend my time buying shoes and handbags. However, as you can see, I do that in my personal time. I buy a huge variety of products and services for the bank. In fact, everything that it needs to operate. And that's from construction to consulting, IT, equipment, health insurance, travel, you name it, I probably bought it. In fact, you can see in this picture right in the middle, I was once responsible for buying a pop-up swimming pool. And I don't think there are many people in the world who can say that. But like with all major corporate organizations, in order to facilitate procurement in our organization, we have a system. We have the procurement system that everybody needs to use. And unfortunately for us, the writing was pretty much on the wall that it was not very good at all. In fact, DBS employees voted it one of the most hated systems in the organization. So it was safe to say that I had a little way to make it better and some room for improvement. So the first thing I did was I came up with the vision of what I wanted the new procurement system to be. And for me, that vision was very simple. I wanted an Amazon-type buying experience because we all use Amazon in our daily lives. Has anyone ever been trained on Amazon? I mean, no, right? Because it's so easy to use. Why can't we translate that into the corporate environment? And also, I wanted to reduce the life hours that our employees were spending on procurement by 80%. So it is a pretty lofty target. So we did our market search, good old RFP, and we came up with this company, Cooper. So Cooper is based in the US. We would be their first implementation in Asia. And I did all of the research, I looked at all the metrics, they were in the top quadrant of all of those charts you want to see them in, Gartner, Forrester, everything, what could possibly go wrong. So we then we engage with an implementation partner to help us with this implementation, and together we run a key success factor workshop. So we developed our key success factors together and with some of our end users, and they were as follows. So first of all, I wanted to increase the spend that went through the system. Currently our system covered 40% of the spend. So I could see what people were spending 40% of the time. The other 60% I didn't have a clue, which was clearly a problem. We also wanted to look at the enhanced user experience. To increase the spend through the system, users had to not think it was the worst system in the world and really want to use it. We also looked at, obviously, the data that was coming out of the system. So with only 40% of the data, how do you think my decisions were going to be? Not very smart, right? I don't have the data for the other 60% that's escaping me. Of course, we wanted to look at increased automation, so straight-through processing wherever possible. And this would help us with the target of reducing the cost of actually buying and paying for something. And then not forgetting the other side of the fence, so the suppliers who are critical to us in our business, and making life for them easier as well. You know, improve their experience of working with DBS. I want them to want to work with me. I want to be the client of choice. We put them on post-it notes, so we stuck it up on the wall. Woohoo! Look at me! I was going. I was really going. And then the implementation team came to me and they said, I need a number of things from you, Donna. I need some space. Okay, no problem. I need contacts from finance because we really need to work with finance and the payment side. IT, of course, because they're going to be developing this product. Yeah, no problem at all. And some users, yes, no problem. So I gave them all of those things, and I sat back and I waited for success. They invited me to a weekly project update. So I went along every week to see how the project was going. Week after week after week, everything was okay. And then one day I went into the room and they showed me this. Now, this is the first project I've ever done. I was like, but it can't possibly be right. Look at this. I mean, the overall status on this is red. And then I look at the task and everything's done. Everything's green. But they're just crossing dates out and putting new dates. So I knew that something was fundamentally broken with this project. What I didn't know is what to do about it. So this is what I did. I went home, I hid under my duvet, and it was very comforting for a very short while. And then I thought, actually, no, I really do need to do something about this. So I went to speak to my manager, and I said, look, the project's in trouble. It's like red, but everything's green. And he started asking me questions. I couldn't answer any of these questions. We kind of concluded then that indeed the project was in a lot of trouble. And I said, so what do we do? So my manager says, okay, I'm going to propose two things. First of all, finance is such a fundamental part of this project. You need co-sponsorship of this project from finance. So we went and we did that. And then the second thing he said, why don't we try Agile? Okay, not very agile myself, but I'll try. I said, so why Agile? And he said to me, well, two reasons. He said, first of all, at least you'll have visibility of where the project is. At least you'll know. And second of all, hopefully, we can start delivering value very quickly and start seeing the value that the system's going to offer to the organisation. And so that's when we were introduced to the lovely Adrienne as our Agile coach.
Thanks, Donna. So IBM and DBS have a quite long-running relationship, which is great. And so I was introduced to Donna and the project manager from the implementation partner, and we basically agreed we're going to need to do an intervention. This poor team had been running for nearly four or 5 months and had really nothing to show for it. In the conversation that we had, it was really apparent to me there were a few key things that were wrong. The team morale was incredibly low. They were totally disengaged. They didn't want to be there. The stakeholder engagement was negative. They didn't want to be there either, and they couldn't see any value in this project. A real concern for me was there was a lot of us and them terminology. So it was like this. So basically we said we really need to do a reset. We need to get everyone together, and first of all we need to acknowledge that it's pretty shit. We're not going to push this under the carpet. This is about being transparent and really recognising where the team are at today so that we can actually move forward. Also in that conversation, what I learned to understand was Donna was going on holiday. But before she went, I needed to get something out of her. I needed her to fully commit to me that she would be the product owner full time. If this project was so important and it needed that level of attention to get it back on track, I needed her there full time. We needed to get decision making happening. We needed to have the right authority level involved to make those decisions. We needed her there. And she agreed to do that, which also meant she had to delegate the rest of her BAU role to someone else for the period of this project. So Donna thought she was going to head off on holiday to read some trashy novels, but no. And you heard about it today. We sent her off with this run guide and some links to some YouTube videos on product ownership so that she could come back armed with the theory so that she knew what was expected of her from a roles and responsibilities perspective. So she went away, as she did, and we got a couple of messages to say, A, I found you a space to collaborate, which was one of the other sort of requests that I'd had from her, because I knew that we needed to co-locate. I rocked up to the project area, or this room that had been set aside for this project, and I found a lovely group of consultants in suits tapping away on their computers. They had some post-it notes on the wall, very task-driven, things that they were going to do. And it was very concerning. So when I go into a new area, and I think you're probably the same, there's some key values and principles that we're looking for. Transparency, collaboration, and communication. And from what I was seeing, there was none of that. So today it was, this is an opportunity. There's heaps of scope here for us to make some improvements and to make a change for this team and for this organisation. The first thing I wanted to address was the co-location and make that actually happen so that they were together and we could start building a one-team feel. But I also wanted to look at the structure. And so you've heard a little bit about squads, you've heard about the Spotify model and all those things. I wanted to make sure that we had the teams working together aligned to the value chain. So I was new to this process, but what I did do was engage with one of the leaders in the organisation who knew the end-to-end process very well, knew the value chain, but was also an advocate for Agile. And so we worked together with the project manager from the implementation partner to put together our squads. And they're pretty typical. Cross-functional squads, dedicated people on those teams as much as we could. There were a couple of resources we had to share a little bit, but we worked with that. Scrum Master capability, it was low, but we were prepared to train them and coach them. And of course we had Donna coming in as the product owner, so that was a really, really good level for us and that commitment. And then I was there across the board to coach the teams. One thing missing. There was no one on the ground from Cooper themselves. So this is the company that we bought this software from, who are meant to be here helping to support us. It's their first implementation in Asia, and they're not here. So that was another big red flag, and obviously a great risk for us, is there's no one on this team who can actually deliver this thing end to end. So the request went in for that as well. How do we get those people on the ground as quickly as possible? Okay. The next thing I wanted to look at was starting to address some of these other things, that transparency, the communication. And so we started implementing some basic ceremonies. You all know about stand-ups? Yep, so we implemented stand-ups. We have a stand-up for each squad so that they could really focus on their delivery, what was working well, what I delivered yesterday, what I'm doing today, and what blockers do I need these guys to lean in and support me with to get removed. We've talked, if you've been in some of the talks today, there's been a lot about impediment removal, making sure we're removing those blockers to keep the traction. So we had our stand-ups every day, 3 of them. We also implemented the retrospective. We needed to get really quick feedback on how we were going with the changes we were making in our way of working and how we were working together. So the focus on what we were doing well, what we weren't doing so well that we needed to improve, but what were the real puzzles for us? What are the grey areas that we need to clarify for this team so that they have clarity in the vision, linking back to what Donna needed us to achieve. We had showcasing set up, sprint review. This is actually the photo from the first one. Not great representation from our stakeholder group, which is something we needed to address. The majority of these guys are the team. But one thing I made sure was that it was not the implementation partner who were doing the showcase. It was DBS guys on the ground, part of that team. They needed to advocate for this new way of working, and they needed to advocate for this product. It was really, really key for them to own it and not to have it in a third party. So we got them doing that, which was great. We'll just go back, Donna. Our retrospectives. So one of the key things that we wanted to make sure was that we weren't just doing the practice. There's a reason why we do these practices, and the core one for me from retrospective is get those actions and making sure that we apply those learnings straight away into the next sprint so that we're fixing ourselves, continuously improving. Now you can see from our first retro, we had a lot of actions, And we couldn't deliver all of that in the next sprint. So we voted and we prioritised what was going to give us the biggest bang for buck. We made sure we hit those in the next sprint. And then the rest of them went into our backlog for us to prioritise along with our other work. One of the other ceremonies I implemented was scrum of scrums, and we won't tell the less guys because they're not fond. But for 3 squads, it's a good ceremony to have. Basically, it's elevating to the next level the discussion. So we had our squad leads, we had Donna, the product owner, we had Scrum Master, and some key stakeholders once a week to talk about where we're at with the project. We needed their feedback quickly. For each of the squads, I also introduced to them some confidence sliders. These are gut feel on where we think we're at, and it's a motive and it's a really good snapshot of where we think that the overall team is at. Our first slider is about the short-term view, our current sprint. How confident are we that we can deliver what we need to? The next view is longer term, project view, or for us it was actually the MVP or first release that we were aiming for. The next one is around our scope. Now we know changes, and because we're agile, it's okay. But we don't want that significant change, and we don't want huge amounts of grey. How certain are we with the scope? If we're not really very certain, then we may need to stop, because are we truly aligned back to the vision of what we need to deliver? Do we know what we need to deliver as far as the value? And the next piece was around our people. Do we have the capacity and the capability we need within our team, so we're not drawing on other teams and having to hand off to other teams, so that we've got confidence to deliver? So these are basically sliders. You can see the rainbow chart colour. That's one we know now on the project of the rainbow charts. But basically they're just that indicator. Down here, not so confident. Up here, pretty confident, which is good. We made a sort of an agreement that anything around the middle, we needed to make sure that we had a little bit of a highlight as to what the issues were, so that anyone could come past and have a look and see where we're actually at with the project. The other thing we were calling out was our top 3 risks for each of the squads, so that we had awareness of those, and so that our stakeholders knew how they could lean in and support us to remove and mitigate some of these risks that we had. Okay. And then Donna came back from holiday. I was like, yay, this is great. We changed heaps, Donna. She was like, oh my goodness, what have you done? But okay. And the next area of focus really for Donna was about managing this backlog of work that we had. We'd done a lot of work while she was away to convert our tasks into user stories. We worked with the stakeholders, we worked with the SMEs to really understand the why. Why do we need to do this work? What's the value we're going to deliver to the organisation? And with that information, Donna was then able to stack rank her backlog based on value, which was fantastic. The other thing we've done is link every single story back to the key success factors the guys had highlighted at the very start, to make sure that there was a true alignment. The other thing we did was a visible risk register. It's as simple as anything. It's the standard quadrant. We rated all of the risks based on their impact and likelihood of occurring. Anything that was a showstopper for us up in the top right corner, straight away we started to look at mitigants. How are we going to reduce the impact if this thing happens to us, if this risk really becomes an issue? The actions that we were taking from those mitigants were carded as stories, the things we needed to deliver to add value. They went in our backlog and were prioritised with the rest of our work. They were first class priorities, the same as everything else we needed to do. Okay. So you can see quite quickly we've changed a lot of things. We've got co-location happening, which was awesome. We started to get transparency of a lot of the work that we needed to do. And we started to get collaboration, which for me was awesome. We started to get quick decision making happening. We started to get the team talking to each other. And we started to get shared understanding, which was critical, which reduced the time spent trying to understand and work things out. But it also started to build the team morale. We wanted to put those people first and get them out of where they had been, that low morale, and really bring them back up and start building that one team feel.
And then, after the end of our first sprint, we had a real result. So I was able to see for the first time the system in action after 2 weeks and sign off my first user story. So I was actually adding value through the system. And after 4 months of absolutely nothing, I'm not saying work hadn't gone on, because of course it had, but being able in such a short period to really deliver that value was just amazing. And I think for me, what Agile really did was it took that blindfold off, right? And it enabled me to start making data-driven decisions. So we were story pointing our stories based on risk, what effort was required, the complexity of the story. We were doing sprint planning on a regular basis. And we were getting more and more and more stuff done, and it was amazing. The feeling in the team was just amazing. We're truly delivering value. And then, sprint 4, we all got a little bit carried away with ourselves. It's actually the first sprint planning we did without Adrienne actually being there. And we did a number of things. So first of all, our velocity had been increasing sprint over sprint over sprint. We got way too excited and we put far too many story points in the sprint. And we didn't respect the definition of ready. So some of the stories we actually put into the sprint weren't ready for that sprint. They had dependencies that weren't aligned. And we completely flatlined. It's very evident to everybody. You can see it, right? Thank goodness somebody started a heart towards the end of the sprint. It was really clear. And in the retrospective that week, this was my contribution. So I drew these eyes. And the observant amongst you will probably notice that these are actually Adrienne's eyes. I have a saying that she shouts at me with her eyes. I say, Adrienne, do you have to have scrum of scrums? And she just looks at me, and I know the answer is, yes, Donna, you need to have scrum of scrums. So I just get on and do it. But I said to the team, what went wrong? How come we were so successful? Adrienne's helped us with all of this implementation. We're delivering value, we're doing fantastic things, and then we did all of these things wrong. So what we did was we took these eyes and we posted them all around the project space. So even when Adrienne's not there, we're reminded of the philosophy that she's teaching us and to respect the rules that we put in place. I think I've seen a complete transformation in the project. So a number of things. I think the stack ranked backlog enables me to very clearly see, it's very visible, the work that we need to do to deliver the value to the organisation. Linking each and every one of those stories to the success factor is just so powerful. So I've got this story and I say, oh yes, it links to 1, 2, 5, is it perfect? And that helps me prioritise. Equally, when I get a story from someone and I go, yeah, no, it doesn't link to anything. So what do I do with it? Put it in the bin, right? Because it's not going to deliver my key success factors for this project. The managing risks in a visible way, I have to say, audit were not happy with us. Where's my risk register in this system that I have that everyone has to log into to see? I'm like, well, we don't have one. Yeah, I'm managing my business here, very visually. They weren't that comfortable with it, but for me, this risk register wasn't stuck in someone's PC. It was right in the middle of my project space. Every single person in my project team knew what our top risks were and how we were going to mitigate them. That to me was far more powerful than having it stuck in someone's computer. And they saw me practically every day looking at the risks and moving them around and trying to manage them. And then I think the key thing on the retrospective, you're right, everyone's right, everyone said no point doing it, right? If the same things come up again and again and again. But with our project they haven't, because Adrienne's made me rank them as they come out, and the top 3 we absolutely have to address in the next sprint. Otherwise we haven't done our job. So I think that's been clear. But I think the real surprise transformation for me has been in my team. So I have a big team. I have a team of over 140 people. And to be honest, some of them I kind of knew who they were, what they did, that was about it. And giving them this empowerment kind of scared me. I'm like, Joe didn't want to be empowered. He just wants to come in and do his job. Are you kidding me? You really empower him to do this? But anyway, we did it. And they embraced that empowerment. They thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really saw them transform. You know, no longer were they them and us, so building trust in the project team. We were working as one team. And these people transformed into superheroes. I didn't realise how amazing and how critical they could be to my team. And that has been an amazing transformation. Just to talk a little bit more about this visual risk management, one of the top risks right from the start of the project was all around change management. We actually didn't have any. 4 months in, I had nothing to show, so I had nothing to change. So we did the normal things, you know. We had the training plan. But I think what was important was really just to get more people involved, to get people talking about the project. So we actually ran a mini advertising campaign. We put it on tissue packets, which you all know how are important to chop your space in Singapore, and posters, and it was everywhere in the organisation. And it really started people talking, and they were just chatting over coffee about Cooper and what value it's going to bring. I think it's fair to say that the attendance at our showcases wasn't fantastic, especially from our more senior stakeholder groups. So we decided to try and do something about that. And what we did was we did a series of very short videos, and we sent them just via WhatsApp, just very simply. And this one was entitled, "Have you ever felt like this when you've used our procurement system?" And then we said, well, if you have, maybe you should come see what Cooper can do for you. Very simple.
Okay, so lots and lots of change has happened for us over quite a few sprints, which has been fantastic. But we also started to get some other interesting feedback. We were told that we're really, really noisy, which we are not going to apologise for. The change from this, demotivated team to this team who are noisy, collaborating, having some fun, was a key indicator that we were on the right track. The other feedback we had was you're using too many walls and you need to start taking things down. And I don't know if any one of you were in Renee's talk today about what do you do with your done. You leave it up and you keep it in space. I'm a strong proponent that we keep it around because it's a really key motivator for the team. We can refer back to it, but it's also a great reminder of how far we've come and what we've actually been able to achieve. So we weren't going to remove anything. What happened though through the project was, it sounds like we were having great success and all was going well, but it was actually, there were some tough times. And it was another great reason why we kept this up. And now we're at Sprint 12, and we have more and more walls filling up. And we're at a really critical stage right now, but it's still really important for us to say, guys, don't get disheartened yet. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. You're doing an awesome job. Look at what we've been able to deliver. The value is coming out. Keep going. And it does help to motivate. The other thing that I did was from week 1, we implemented weekly success. So every Friday, we got the team together, a couple of drinks, bit of pizza, to talk about what did we learn this week? What was good? What was bad? Not waiting for the 2-week retro, which was kind of more formal. I wanted the team to start to work together in a more social way. I wanted them to start having more casual conversations. And it's interesting, you may all know that over a couple of glasses of wine, the truth really comes out. And it's great. Particularly moving the dial from us and them to how are we going to do this together? How are we going to solve this problem? Co-create that solution. the team really took it to heart. So they took it up a notch and said, we're going to theme our Fridays now. So we started to have navy blue day on a Friday, and we started to have pink day, and we ended up with stripes one day. We had spots, and we even had animal print, which was interesting to see the guys coming in their beard shirts, which was really quite cool. But it was having the right effect, which was fantastic, and it still is, which is fantastic for us, to ensure that those people are feeling like they are part of that one team and they're still on the right track to deliver this vision.
So as well as being noisy and taking up all of this wall space, one of the side effects of our project is we had a queue of people who wanted to come visit. They wanted to come see what we were doing. I wish we'd charged them $5 each, we would be very good. But it was creating a real buzz around the organisation. Everybody had heard about Coupa now. They knew we were doing it in an agile way. And they all wanted to come and see, what was making us so successful? Why was everybody talking all of a sudden about this? So it's really created, I think, a groundswell of enthusiasm of agile throughout the organisation, not just within my project, which is probably one of the first that we've done. And of course, with my continuous improvement hat on, I'm like, right, Adrienne, okay, so great, we transformed this project. What are you going to do about my BAU? How can I transform my BAU using this agile? And, I think it'll be fantastic. So luckily enough, Adrienne had been already working with our technology exco to transform their meetings and give them a portfolio view of what was going on in the technology organisation. So she suggested that we adapt the same technique, which we call the Wonder Wall, or the Wall of Wonder. And you can see here I have all of my different streams from a BAU perspective. I link them directly to the organisation scorecard, because if I'm not delivering value for the organisation, then I may as well not do it. We then have the metrics that matter. So anybody can walk past this board and knows exactly where I am from a procurement function perspective against my KPIs and how they go to the group scorecard, which has been amazing. It's enabled me also to bring in my management team and get them to learn more about Agile, and now they're thinking about how they can implement it in their teams as well. And from a management perspective, all of our management reviews are now done around this board. So we've kind of dragged the management there to come see as well. I do the rainbow charts. I think they look really pretty. They actually really do. And it's not necessarily all fact-based. It's more feeling and how people are feeling on the project. I think that's just really important. So you might be delivering, everything's green, but are you still red overall because your team are not engaged? So I think this has been really valuable. And also having the top 3 risks and any decisions that I need to make there every day, I think really helps. So of course, I have my continuous improvement hat on. What would I have done differently? I definitely would have done Agile from the start. So I started the whole process of I don't even know what Agile is, but my manager says it's a good thing, so let's try it, to being a real advocate. I think the data-driven decisions is so important. So I said at the outset of the project, we're going to deliver in April. Why did I say April? I have no idea why I said April. I just kind of felt that the project should take maybe 6 months to implement. Right? I now know that I'm going to go live in July because of the visibility that I chose. But I'm still suffering from the fact that I said it was going to be April in the first place. So I don't know why to make decisions when we don't have any data. And Agile is really kind of giving me that visibility. And also having the right team with the right capability. I had my business case signed off and I was off and running. I was so happy my boss had approved it. And I forgot, I really forgot that I need the right people with the right capacity and the right capability to help me. And yes, I feel like they need to be superheroes sometimes, but they absolutely need to be there. And then the co-creation. So initially we were pretending to be agile because we had post-it notes on the wall with tasks. Then we kind of worked to move those into user stories. We didn't have that co-creation with the actual users. I didn't understand truly the why they needed this functionality. And I think if I understood the why, we could have maybe proposed things in a different way, different ways to solve their problem. And because we didn't have it, there was a lot of back and forth, which, we could have improved. And then lessons learned. So Cooper, first implementation in Asia, but they've done it all over the world before. So why don't I have a big list of all of the lessons that they've learned from every other implementation that they've done? Didn't have it. I asked for it a few times, still didn't get it. I have it now, which is maybe a little late, but better late than never. But I think really pushing for that in any implementation is important. And then the last thing, which is something that I take with me in life, as well as in my agile implementations, is about risk and bringing risk forward. So a great example of this was when we were discussing my regional rollout. So I'm rolling out across Asia, not just in Singapore. We got talking about India. Now, India's going to be really difficult because India has a different payment system. They've got VAT legislation coming in just soon. So you know what? Let's focus on the other stuff, and then we'll talk about India later. Then I looked up, and I think I must have saw Adrienne's eyes staring at me at a post-it note, and I said, no. We need to do India first. We need to bring the risk forward. We need to understand the unknown. And the project team were literally like, Adrienne, where's Adrienne? Because there were literally words right out of her mouth. But by doing that, we uncover the unknown by looking at these risky things earlier in the process. So for me, we're going live in July. I'm very confident we're going to go live in July. The initial feedback on the system has been unbelievable. A project manager actually said to me, it's going to change my life. Now, I think that was maybe a little over the top, but I can definitely see how it's going to deliver value. And I'm not hiding underneath my duvet anymore. I'm literally leaping cliffs with the belief of what Agile can drive. And that's because I know exactly how big that gap is, because Agile has given me that visibility.
That's all we have. Thank you very much. Were there any questions? Oh, yes, hello.
Hi. You have talked about Scrum of Scrum. So it will be the sprint review, right?
No, not sprint review. So we actually include a Scrum of Scrums when we have multiple teams or multiple squads, so that we can have a more leader level understanding of their key issues, the key blockers and challenges that we need to have a higher level discussion around. So we're having our sprint review, which is retrospective, and we have our showcase, but in addition we have our Scrum of Scrums weekly.
So it works with multiple teams?
Yes, yeah. It's a lightweight way to scale, is what I would say, rather than implementing a more heavier framework. Thanks. Anybody else? Okay.
I want to ask, where are the management's position in the story? Because I didn't hear any about the management, and it's lucky that Donna is the CPO, right? But I don't know. In my organization, for example, a lot of product owners come from the middle level, and so they still need to report to the higher and to make decisions. Really hard.
Yes. So one of the things we were very clear when we started the project was if Donna was going to be the product owner, then she needed to have authority to make the decisions. And we got that agreement with her management. So it was very much a case of this is what we need from the role. If Donna's not the right person, then I need the right person. Otherwise we need to stop because we're not going to be able to deliver. We have tight timelines, not from an individual release perspective, but from an overall delivery perspective. We need to meet the end of the year for delivery. So we can't have cycle time being spent on decision making. So we had to have that conversation. Luckily, Donna is in a position where she could actually delegate her role, and she had really capable people. Probably they've become more capable.
No, absolutely.
Or they were capable, but now she knows more about it. But we've, even in that space, they've been collaborating. So her role didn't just go to one person; it went to multiple people in her area to help them.
What kind of statement for the management give their consent for Donna to make the decision?
So conversation.
Just
The conversation. Yes. And I think also what was in our favour was that Donna's manager is an agile advocate as well. He was the one who suggested agile. So we were already on a winner. But we still needed to be very clear, because we have multiple stakeholders, that Donna is the authoritative figure in our project, and she will make the decisions.
And remember, we had to go to finance as well. So one of the points that Paul said is because finance plays such a critical role in this project, we need to get them brought in. And we went right up to the CFO. But I have that ability to do that with the organisation and then get everybody's buy-in that I'm the decision maker.
Great question. Thank you.
Question on the user story. We only got to a later stage where we start to understand about user story or features that the user would like to use the platform. I assume that the decision on the platform was made by IT, not by you.
It was actually made by me. Yeah.
So we shouldn't change your decision because when you find out that they're not recall purpose, they're really communication, you change your decision on a different platform.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't, because I think that there's no perfect solution out there. And what it's about is identifying where you can make the maximum impact. And I think Cooper has enabled us to do that. But yes, of course, we should have brought that whole story up front to understand more before we even went to market. But
So once you understand that approach, would you use that approach to justify platform that will be able to deliver those?
yeah, yeah.
So they did go through their RFI process. They did have an understanding of the use cases, so not stories, but the actual use cases that they needed to be able to put through the system. And of course, we had an understanding of those key success factors. The comparison between the systems was done, and you're looking at basically a system that you configure the various components to get the best out of it that you can. But as Donna said, you're never going to get 100%. So what are you going to enable that's going to give you the best solution to align to your own processes? But some of the processes are having to change. So it's not about everything has to fit what we do today, because if we're only going to do that, we're going to get the same outcome that we've had before. We need to be thinking about the longer term and improving that. The user story piece, so the implementation partner had done some work to understand from a feature perspective what was required. But they didn't understand how it would be used and the why that they were being looked at. So that's where the user stories, with true acceptance criteria and really understanding who are we delivering it for, so who am I as a user, what do I need and why, really started to understand the value of what we needed to deliver. So that was key for Donna to do that prioritisation. Yeah.
Actually, I'm more of a needing tips on how exactly to get the team committed with the user stories, because the way we do in our organization is that I create like some sort of user stories on like the one that you just mentioned on who am I, what we need to do, and things like that. But on the day-to-day stand-up, sprint planning, and all that stuff, I found that even though my engineers already, commit with the scoring of the user stories, I found that it's quite hard for them to commit it with the numbers that they already given me at sprint planning. So most of the time on the stand-up, they will be like, yeah, I'm actually doing this user stories, but I find it difficult to do this, and that. By end of the day, I cannot get this user stories finished. So I found this one time that it works. That I actually need to drill down what exactly that makes them cannot, get this done. But what I'm afraid is that if I have to be that controlling every time, it would, affect their psychological, those stuff. So I'm just wondering how people are doing this. How are we trying to get the team committed with committed in the sprint planning?
So one of the things I get the teams to do is to do their story elaboration a little bit before our sprint plan. What I want to understand from them is what do they think the effort is? What do they think the activities are to deliver this? Is it risky? What sort of risk level are we talking about? How complex is it? And I'm asking them questions so that it helps me understand what they're going to need and helps the Scrum Master understand what they need to support them. Is there dependencies that we haven't considered? We need to get those aligned. Sometimes we have to have support from external. So part of our project, because we're interfacing with different areas, we've got some ETL, we've got different files going all over the place. It's making sure that I've got the right team there to have that discussion. I'm not going to put them on the, I kind of am putting them on the spot, but not in such a way that it's totally inflexible. And when I'm doing the estimation with them, I'm not talking points at all. I'm asking them to compare this card with this card. Tell me about this one. And we just put it here. Tell me about this one. So compare the two. This is where the relative estimation comes in. Compare the two. How much more work is this? How much more effort? How more complex is this? Well, this one's really easy. Sweet, okay. What else is happening? But we also have to consider what is on our definition of ready that means we can put this card into the sprint. And part of that conversation is their confidence level. Are they confident that they've got enough information we can deliver this within the 2-week sprint? If they're not, let's just spend a little bit of time and get into a confidence level. What's missing for them? Maybe we need to do a spike, particularly if we've got to integrate with something new or it's something we completely haven't touched before. So let's time box a small amount of our time within the sprint to do that spike and just get enough more information that we can make a data decision around what we need to do next and get a better estimate for that piece of work.
And I think it's got easier over time as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So at the start it was a real struggle and our story elaboration meetings were quite long, but as people kind of got used to it and we saw the data out of the spreadsheet and how many points they were doing, and, give us more confidence and give them more confidence that they were estimating correctly. It's not easy. It's not easy to start.
Okay, time. Thanks, Alia. Thanks for the heads up. Thanks, everyone. Good questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.